Hello students, this is Dr. Diaz and I'm here to talk about the lab7. So lab7 was created to explore a little bit about the type of reactions that we already talked in class. Different types of reactions. We have a combination or synthesis reaction. We have a decomposition reaction. We talked about the single and double replacement, and also I talked about neutralization was a reaction that occurs between acid and base, forming salt and water. And also we talk about the combustion reaction. And here in this assignment, I asked you to write down the molecular equation, ionic equation, and also net ionic equation. This way you could find a video explaining how to work with the ionic equations. That video is close to the lab7, so that you should watch before you complete your lab. So ionic reaction is a reaction that occurs between ions, as the name says, ions. And there are electrons that will be transferred from one atom to the other atom and form new negative and positive charged ions that will get together, forming a new compound. So in that procedures in the lab7, you could find to find the solubility table, which is very important to understand here how to use it, and also the video with the lab. So that in the lab, the instructor will show you different types of reaction with different elements. So it starts with the first one over here that occurs between barium chloride and sodium sulfate. So the first thing that the table asked you is the observations. As soon as the instructor started reaction, he showed us how clear and liquid was the reactant. So we can write over here that it was a clear solution that is observed before the reaction, right? They are both clear solution. Okay, so I can write down the formula that will help me to write down the reactions. So I have barium chloride, right? And I have sodium sulfate. And you ask me how you wrote the formula. If you are not comfortable to write down the formula, just review that part, but I will explain a little bit over here as well. So I have barium, that is in the group 2. So I know that all the elements in group 1 will have a charge +1, and the group 2 have charge +2. So barium's group 2 is +2. And I have chloride, ion chloride, it's in group 17. So group 17 is -1, group 16 is -2, so on. So -1 because chlorine has 7 electrons and the valence electrons, right? The valence 7 valence electrons. So chlorine just need one more to have 8 and be happy. So this is why it will be -1 because he just needs 1 to be more stable, to have the same electron configuration of a noble gas. So here what I do is cross the charge, so it will be barium and then chloride 2. And they're going to do the same thing in the sodium sulfate because sodium is in group 1, so it's +1. Sulfate is a polyatomic ion, and here I can see -2. So when you cross, the charge will be Na2 SO4. Good. So on the other side, when the reaction happened, what I saw is over here. Look, a white cloud solution. So I can write down cloud solution. And that is an indication that a precipitation reaction happened over here. So if it asks it, that is a reaction happened, yes, reacted. So yes, right? And I can write down, because if it is a reaction happened, they change place over here. So I have barium sulfate plus sodium chloride, right? So now you need to write down the formula. So the equation. So I have barium chloride, right? Plus sodium sulfate, giving us barium sulfate plus sodium chloride. And this is, that is a change of places over here. So a double, right? It's a double and replacement or displacement, right? And my second step over here in the reaction is to evaluate if the reaction is well balanced, and it's not, because I can see that I have 2 chlorines over here and I have 2 sodiums over here. Barium and sulfates are okay because I have 1 and 1 in both sides, but here I don't. So I will do is write down 2, because now I have 2 sodiums and 2 chloride. And now it's asking ionic equation. So how, as the name says, I need ions. The only thing that I need to know is, okay, which compound here will precipitate? That's the first thing that you need to know. Oh, okay, I will go over here, right? Yes. So I see over here sulfate says that it's soluble unless sulfate is bonded with silver, lead, or any elements in group 2 start from calcium, and barium is below calcium. So barium will not be soluble over here, barium sulfate. So I will write down over here that is the solid. But the sodium chloride, look at the chlorides over here, it's soluble unless it's bound with silver, lead, and mercury, and this is not the case, so it will be soluble. So it's aqueous. Okay, so and here also both are aqueous. So you write down both are aqueous over here. Okay, and how are we going to write down the ionic? I form ions. The only thing that will form ions are the aqueous. Okay, solid will not form ions because they are solid. So let's write down what we have. So I have barium. Oh, that yellow will not help me. So barium, right? Plus 2. Plus I have 2 chlorides now, right? 2 Cl minus. And I have Na, but I have 2, so with 2 Na plus 1 plus sulfate, I only have 1, so it will be SO4 negative 2. And the other side I have barium sulfate, solid, so will not separate in ions. And I have 2 sodium plus 2 chlorine negative over here, so aqueous. All the ions are aqueous. Okay, you write down aqueous and wall. I forgot to write down over here. Okay, so you need to write down over there. So that equation, so we need first to, before you write down the net ionic equation, you need to know who is the spectators over here. That means which ion you find on both sides of the reaction, and the reactants and the products. So I find, look at this, my God, not the color. So I have chlorides over here, and I have chloride over here. That means it didn't participate in the reaction because the way that chloride came in is the same way that came out. So it didn't react with anyone. So, and the sodium as well, look at this, I have 2 sodiums over here and 2 sodiums over here. So the net ionic equation is exactly, as I said, is the main actor of my reaction, is the precipitate. So this is what we have left over here. So we're going to write down this. So I have barium plus 2 aqueous plus sulfate negative 2 aqueous, forming barium sulfate solid. That's it. That's all. Bye for now.